The work is doing is enormously important. From the up-and-coming actors to the veterans like myself, the foundation is here to help all of us.
As fellow artists, we've all been there. It's crucial that we remember where we came from and help out however we can.
For over 25 years, the SAG Foundation has been the industry's best-kept secret, and we're out to change that.
As natural storytellers, it's great that we have the opportunity to give back through the Children's Literacy Program.
A disaster like Sandy really brings it home with how crucial the SAG Foundation is. Their donation drive helped so many people in need.
The seminars and workshops are crucial. Working together is what makes us better.
The SAG Foundation is a nonprofit organization that relies solely on donations to keep these important programs free for everyone.
The SAG Foundation can't do it alone. We need you.
If you need help, ask.
If you can help, give.
We're all in this together.
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 Together, everyone benefits.
Join the cause.
Back now.
The Actors Fund helps everyone in performing arts and entertainment. We've been helping with respect and compassion since 1882. How? Through emergency financial assistance in times of need and a wide range of social services. We assist in securing affordable health insurance and also offer free health care. We help our colleagues to develop secondary and parallel careers outside the industry through employment and training services. Our youth services in Los Angeles help young performers create healthy and balanced lives. Our housing programs provide affordable and supportive places to live and work. And our Lillian Booth home in New Jersey offers the highest quality skilled nursing care and assisted living. We do all of that for more than 12,000 people each year. We're the Actors Fund for everyone.
Hello again, guys. Give them a hand, yeah. Also want to welcome, are we going to play me out there? Thanks. I want to welcome the live stream people who are viewing across the country. Thanks for viewing and joining in with us here in the live audience. A couple things I want to talk about is the idea of this nonprofit. We, as well as the Actors Fund, are nonprofit. Nonprofit means that we are here to educate, inform, and assist SAG-AFTRA and equity members. Part of that means that we do not get your initiation fees or dues. Let me repeat that. We do not get your initiation fees. We do not get your dues. We only survive on grants and donations. And the people that do supply grants gave us a charge this last time and said one way that we determine if this is working, this being the SAG Foundation, is if how many of the members actually take ownership and give back. So we've been charged to encourage you to not only participate, but also, when you can, to give back. A little context. Each seat that is here and at every event costs us, the SAG Foundation, $16. We average around 20 to 28 events per month. That's Life Raft, that's Conversations, that's CAP. So the question becomes, how many of those do you attend, and how much is that worth to you? Because we need you guys to take ownership by also giving. So a way to think about this is we have a donation box now that is to your right, if you have a couple bucks and are willing to give. Like that as well. I don't always carry cash, and we get that. So there's a donate button on the website that you can donate, maybe be a sustaining member, $5 a month, $1 a month. Is that worth potentially 28 events a month? My guess is that's a pretty good deal, and then you're not going to find a better deal in town. Also, a way to think about it is we get these surveys back that everyone's going to fill out that we talked about. And on those surveys, a lot of times people say, we want more CAP workshops, or we want more this, or we want more that. Well, we are a small office, and we can only do so much. And the more donations we get, the more chances of creating an additional event per month, especially around CAP, where it's very limited and you only get to do it every 90 days, and so on and so forth. So those are ways to think about, how am I going to be able to help sustain this organization that you are so grateful for attending and so willing to be here, which we love, and love to see your faces. Also, too, is that we have assistance programs. As actors, income fluctuates, and sometimes it's hard to pay bills. So we have ways to do that. So if you need help or know people that need help, please give us a call, and we can help and figure that out. Also, on the flip side, maybe by giving a couple bucks, you're helping someone else in this room pay a bill. So you can think about it that way too. Thank you for being here. I want to introduce to you to Joanna Webb, who's from the Actors Fund.
I guess I take this mic. Anyway, hi, my name is Joanne Webb, and I am the director of the Actors Fund Work Program. Changing mics here. Okay, I can do that. Anyway, we'd like to really welcome you. Every now and then, about 2 or 3 times a year, we collaborate with SAG Foundation to do a particular program. We do, every other month, we always do career panels. How many of you have been to some of the career panels we've done? And our whole idea is to really get you inspired and get new ideas. One of our big ones right now is really entrepreneurish, own your own business. Can you own your own business? Is it realistic? You know, what does that really look like for you? And those of you, how many of you have never been to the Actors Work Program? Just, if you could just raise your hand so I know who I'm talking to. If you're at all interested, you are welcomed to come to an orientation. We have them at 1 o'clock on Mondays, except for holidays. And what it does is it allows you to be able to come and take resume workshops, job search strategies, doing social networking, which is a huge thing for all of us, right? We're not looking as much, our mission's a little bit different than SAG Foundation or SAG. We're not helping you find a career in your business, but we're trying to help you find sideline work or parallel careers. Sometimes we have people that want to transition, and we have scholarship money for that. So that's the kind of thing we do. And I think we do it pretty well. And we're always looking to do it even better. So we do hope you can join us. It would be so fabulous to have you around and join, because it's building community, because we are for everyone in the entertainment industry. So we're not just actors, we're writers and directors and producers and costumers and all different types of people, and we hope you can join us. And with that, I want to just say that I am so grateful that we're doing this today, because this is a wonderful opportunity for us to explore a little bit what direction we're going. I'm going to have our panelists just come up here and slip into their seats. And then we'll... Just out of curiosity, how many of you were here last year? Okay, so a lot of you, this is all new, you know, and what happened was about, I guess it's a little bit over a year now, almost to the day. It's kind of amazing. This is how networking works. I was working with a guy that was a vice president over at SCORE. Some people know what SCORE is. It's people who have retired who help people start their own businesses. And so he calls me one day and he says, I got to get you together with somebody that is working at College of the Canyons, and they have a small business development program, and it is so wonderful, and you guys really need to talk. So the woman was Catherine Grooms, who's on my left, and I'm going to let her introduce herself a little bit more than this. But what happened out of that was Catherine and Mark and I had a teleconference, and we started to talk a little bit about what we might be able to do together. What happened was College of the Canyons got a grant from the government to help people in the entertainment industry start their own business. Isn't that cool? So it was such a great fit for us because that's what we do, is try to help people. And, you know, it was such a great resource. And during this time, so many cool things have happened. I've watched people, you know, when you do what we do with career counseling, you see a lot of sad faces walking into the room at first, not because they don't love their acting or they don't love what they do in the business when they get a chance to do it, but because they can't afford their rent or their lifestyle is just not quite as fitting as they would have liked it to be at this stage of the game. So when you go from that kind of look to that look where people are looking at you and their eyes are smiling, whoops, my cards, their eyes are smiling and they have a sense of purpose. It just is amazing. It's just amazing. There's not enough money on the planet that can pay for that look when it changes. And because of the work that we've been doing with Catherine and her team, with our people, and that's what you're going to see today. You're going to see a couple of things. You're going to see hear from Catherine and Tora from Small Business Development. We have two people here who are going to be talking to you a little bit about their process of working with the small business development and what kind of great things they're doing because of that. And that would be Carolyn and Gary. And then right afterwards, Sam, who is very precious to me because I watched him through his process, and he's going to talk to you about how he opened up a franchise business based on, you know, what he learned through his own process of going through job to job and figuring out what he wanted to do, and figured out he could really own his own business and he could really do something really interesting. So I'm going to start out by just going, just having each person just introduce themselves, and then we're going to go in a little bit more depth. And then I'll be going back and forth, asking questions, and then we will have Q&A time as well. Okay? So let's get started. Why don't we start with you, Catherine?
I'm Catherine Grooms, the Assistant Director at the College of the Canyons Small Business Development Center. And I'm going to pass it over to Tora so she can introduce herself.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Tora Brown, and I'm a business advisor with the Small Business Development Center. My area of expertise is public relations and marketing.
Hi, my name is Carolyn Warren. I'm an actress and writer and baker, and I've started a new business called Hey Dollface Productions.
Good afternoon. My name is Gary Corbin. I'm an actor, writer, playwright, and producer, emerging producer, owner of Globescope, president and founder, pardon me, of Globescope Arts and Entertainment, Inc., which I'm here to talk to you about this afternoon.
Hi there, my name is Sam Eunice. I'm an actor and writer, and I'm also a franchisee with a company called Mathnasium. They're a math learning center, and I own and operate Mathnasium of Hancock Park, which is just down the road here on Wilshire.
Great. Okay. So why don't we get started? I think it would be nice to have Catherine tell you a little bit about what they do and how they operate over at Small Business Development. How many of you have ever gone to a small business development? I know Santa Monica College has one, and you have too. Okay, so we've got quite a few people. And any of you have ever used the College of the Canyons in the audience? Okay, great. Okay, so maybe more of you might be interested now. Go ahead, Catherine.
So I guess the easiest way to explain what we do is to, first of all, what we do is provide a free consulting service. So your tax dollars have already paid for us. We're funded by the SBA. We do get support from College of the Canyons, State of California budget. Little bit comes in as the budget permits. So right now we're receiving smaller amounts of funding, and then we have private sponsors. But ultimately it really is your tax dollars that allow us to provide the one-on-one consulting. So if you have an idea for a business, if you're actively working in the industry and you haven't formalized what you're doing, meaning you have not chosen to use something other than your personal name to be paid your compensation. So, I mean, you have some people that are working in the industry and they may not be actively managing their career as a business. Some choose to do that. Some have a preference not to compromise the creative aspects of what they're doing and let it kind of veer into the business aspects. You have others who are choosing to manage it as a business. So for us, what I do is I meet with most of the new clients. They come in, I share what we can do with them. It's consulting. It's really just you sharing your ideas with us, and then we're figuring out a plan to help you reach your goals. So let's say you've had this idea. You've been thinking about it for about the last 5 years, but you don't want to share it with anybody. I'm the person you can share it with. So what we talk about, it's confidential, safe space, for you to even just kind of talk through your ideas. So what the SBDC does is it allows you to communicate your ideas, to share them. If you want to work with us, we will work with you. It's just an investment of your time. If you decide you don't want to pursue it, that's fine too. But at least you found out that there is an opportunity for you to share your idea. Maybe it's something that you've been working on as a hobby, and you just haven't formalized it. You're not calling it a hobby, it's just something you do every weekend, right? You're at the farmer's market, you made, I don't know, some pickled jalapenos. You have the mason jars, you got them for $1 a piece, jalapenos, I don't know, what, like $3 a pound, $2 a pound, depending on which store you go to. And I'm not advertising any brands, they're just homegrown jalapenos. So you decide to pickle them at home, you go to a farmer's market, you determine what the market will bear. Just so happens that you've been doing this for about 3 years. You get up every Saturday, every Sunday, you repeat the process, but you haven't formalized it as a business. So that may be something you want to explore. Maybe you really want to see, well, over the last 3 years, maybe I sold 3,000 jars. Maybe I had an opportunity to make a little bit more money off of each jar so that it could be supplemental income to support what you're doing creatively. So it's really just an opportunity for you to share your ideas. If you'd like to work with one of our business advisors, we have a team of 15. So it's you talking through that. We basically craft a plan, and then what you're doing is you're gradually working on that plan. So ultimately, there's economic impact. Ultimately, that's why we provide the one-on-one consulting. So there are no hidden costs. We are there to help the economy. So if we are able to work with you and you start a business, we absolutely want that. For every business that's started, it creates at least one job. We want to generate revenue. That is if you're a for-profit business. So generating revenue, generating profitability associated with that revenue. Even when you're investing in your business, you're investing capital in the economy. Maybe it just means that you went out and you obtained your fictitious business name, right? So how many of you actually have business names for your creative endeavors? Oh, lots of you. Good. So you know what I'm talking about. So we're really there just to be a resource for you. So if you haven't quite started your business yet, if you have an existing business and you'd like to figure out different ways to expand that business, we're absolutely there for that too.
I'm going to just ask a few questions just to kind of go a little bit more in depth. Along with the actual counseling, what about other kind of classes? Because I know people need to know how to do business plans and they need to know how to do particular things, marketing or whatever, although I know they'll get a little bit of that with the counseling. But how do you manage that?
So I would say the trainings, we do have trainings that are available. Our traditional territory that we cover is the San Fernando Valley, the Santa Clarita Valley, and the Antelope Valley. So we have business locations where we have trainings on how to start your business, how to write a business plan. We do social media. We've had a few sessions on how to actually build a website. We have sales and marketing. We have QuickBooks. So we have a variety of topics. Some of them repeat monthly, and then others come up periodically. So if we have a topic that's of interest to our clients or potential clients, then we offer a class. So as an example, we have offered classes in LinkedIn. So something else related to social media or social marketing. You can take a look at our website. It's SBDC.org. For those of you who didn't get it, COCSBDC.org. A lot of information on there, including the trainings. If you just click on the calendar, you'll see what's available.
And if I'm right, the counseling is for free, but some of the classes is a nominal fee, right?
With regard to the classes, we have been fortunate to have sponsors that support our classes. So right now we are getting ready to have a series. I'm not going to mention who the sponsor is because I haven't gotten permission from them. If you take a look at the website, COCSBDC.org, you'll see we have an upcoming series. There are actually, I think, 6 different sessions with a variety of the topics that I mentioned. Another series that we have going on that is sponsored is an international trade series. So how many of you have businesses where you're offering products and or services to customers outside of the United States? How many of you have businesses where you are offering services or products where you're buying from out of the United States? Okay, so we have a great international series that's going on. It's sponsored, so no charge to you. This one happens to be at College of the Canyons. It's running every 2 weeks. We just had one on Tuesday. But take a look at the website. Excellent content. Opportunity for you to connect with people that are in the industry. Great. So we do have sponsored trainings too.
Great. And you have did you bring some stuff, flyers and everything? Yeah.
Yes.
So
Flyers
there's
are
stuff
over
on the table that you can pick up afterwards. So, but wait till afterwards, okay? So why don't we move on to Tora, who also works, Tora Brown, who has actually spoken for us at one of our Valley Days, and speak on your particular expertise.
Okay, so how many of you that own businesses out there, how many of you have written a business plan? Oh, that's a lot more than I thought. Okay, good. That's a really important part of starting a new business. And I start with that because most people don't want to do it. They're afraid to do it. They think it's scary. They think it's, all of these terrible things. And really, it's the most important part of the business, having the business plan and having it in writing and having it formulated. And what I like to tell people is to think of the business plan just as a roadmap. It's just your roadmap for success. Now, I know we're fun, creative type people, right? But how many of you, if you decided you wanted to take a trip to New York, would just jump in the car and start driving? Okay, good. I'm so happy that I don't see any hands go up. I was a little nervous. I was like, oh no. Right. We wouldn't just jump in the car and drive to New York and not check to see if we had any money in our wallet, not have our credit cards, not see if there's gas in the car, not pack a bag, right? You'd make a plan before you do it, right? You'd think, okay, when do I want to go? How long am I going to go? What do I want to do when I get there? What do I want it to be like? Do I want to be able to ride in limos everywhere I go? Do I want to do the subway? You're going to think about that. So you're going to need to know how much money you're going to need, right? You're going to make all these, you're going to do that before you'd even take a trip. And even before you came here today, right? You thought about, okay, that starts at 3. There you have a line. I've got to get there a little bit early. It's on this side of town. It takes this long, right? You made a plan. And that's really all the business plan is. It's that simple. And that's the one thing I really like to help business owners with, and people who are even in the process of, I have an idea, but I'm not sure what I want to do. Doing the business plan is so really important. It's like the most important part of starting a business. And it doesn't sound fun or sexy, but I promise you, when you finish it, you'll be it's so rewarding, because really what you're doing is you're just getting your thoughts that are in your head and putting them out in paper. And then you're able to see where you want to go. Like, what do you want your business to look like? What's the final destination? How much money you want to make? How much money you're going to need? And what you're going to do. And it's just really, like I said, it's as simple as just a roadmap and a plan. So that's the first thing that I really like to work with clients if they don't have one. And most of our clients, even people who've been in business for 10 years, come in and they've never written a business plan. And they wonder why they're not successful and their business isn't doing what they think in their head that they want their business to do. It's because they don't know where they're going. You know, like my pastor said last weekend, he said something that was so simple, but it was so awesome. He said, your direction determines the destination. So if we were thinking we wanted to go to Lake Tahoe, would we jump on the 5 South right now to go to Lake Tahoe and then wonder, you know, after driving for like 10 hours, why haven't I hit Lake Tahoe, right? Well, because you're not driving towards Lake Tahoe, and you're never going to get there. No matter how much you want to get to Lake Tahoe, you're not getting to Lake Tahoe if you just stay on the 5 South. You'll get to Mexico, which you might have some fun and do something exciting, but you're not going to get to Lake Tahoe, right? So really, that's all the business plan. That's just, when you think about the business plan, don't think of it as like this 45-page document that I have to write that has financials and all this and graphs and charts and scary stuff. Just think of it simply as, where do I want to go and how am I going to get there? And how much money do I need when I'm there? And that's really all it is. So that's the first thing that I really like to work with clients. It's the business plan.
I understand, just because I hear a little bit from clients every now and then about what a fabulous experience they have with you, Tora.
Oh, that's nice.
Could you just talk a little bit about, I know you bring people together as a team to listen to people's ideas, to help them brainstorm it out a little bit. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Sure. So one of the other things within writing the business plan, the other thing that I find that a lot of business owners kind of aren't sure about is their focus, their target audience. Who is the ideal person or client for this product? Everyone likes to say, oh, my product's good for everything, or my services, everybody would like them. And though that may be true, there's a certain group of people who are going to be specific and going to be the people that are going to want your product. So we really work with helping you determine who those people are. We can do things like, we also work with some of the other consultants that I might bring in, like we have Connie, who's amazing with access to capital, so I might bring her in to help with, okay, we're at the place where we want to get some funding, so we know this is our target market, and so what can we do to go after funds so that we can, you know, get this business going the way it needs to. So sometimes we do that as far as bringing in other consultants to work together. And then also really just really listening to the client. We give you fun homework assignments to do, and they really are fun, I promise. And we will have the homework assignments, and then also within some of the homework assignments, I'll have you go out and talk to people. Depending on what it is, if you're trying to figure out what your brand is or who you are, as a brand, determining who you are, I'll have you go out and ask people, so when you see this, what do you think? And just random people, and then what do you think when you see this? What does this look like to you? That could be a homework assignment. Or calling the clients that you've really enjoyed working with and surveying those clients and finding out, what is it about you that makes them come back? What is it about you that makes them refer people to your business? So those are some of the ways that we bring other people into the process.
And I know with helping them look at their website and promotion, how they're promoting themselves is a big piece.
Definitely.
Too, right?
Definitely. I mean, your website is so important. How you're promoting yourself on Facebook, really think about that. I would encourage you, to have a private page, have your own, like your own personal page, and then have another page that, you keep it more professional. And even if you're an actor, I would still encourage you to do the same thing. And though that they can see the other page too, and so remember that even if your page is private, people can see it. So just think before you're posting things on Facebook, because I've seen some things and I think, is that really what you want us to think about you when because we look at it and we see what you write, we see what you think about, what you're talking about, who you're connected with. So all of those things really matter.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to move over to one of your clients?
Over.
Carolyn?
To Carolyn.
Would you like to talk about your experience in starting your business?
I would like to. Thank you, Joanne.
We should do a show together sometime. I'm going to ask you to move your mic a little bit closer.
A little bit closer to my mouth. Hello. I just have to say first that I love hearing Tora Brown. I can't call her Tora. I have to call her Tora Brown. She's my business consultant, and because I'm a lucky gal. And I love hearing her talk about the business plan, because when I saw the 45-page document with the graphs and the numbers, my head exploded. I mean, pieces of my brain were all around my apartment, and I thought, this is the end of me. And she's like, oh, it's fine, and here's some homework, and it's going to be great. Like, so I have to say, she is really bringing me around to the point where we are now, the stage where I am right now, we are writing the scary business plan, and I'm really excited, and thank you, yay! What it means is that these dreams that I've had for a really, really long time, that I used to talk about and I was excited about, but there was always an air of sadness when I talked about them. There was a wistfulness because it was something that I didn't have yet, and I had hope that maybe someday I would, but now they're going to come true. Now they're coming true. Thank you. One of the reasons why I'm sitting here is because of Joanne Webb and the Actors Fund, because I came here at the very end of the summer this year, and I was in a very sad state. I was one of those people who were looking downtrodden and feeling almost hopeless about some things. And Joanne, I had a counseling session with her, and she invited me to bring in a list of all the jobs that I've done over the years besides being a singing comedian that have interested me or that have made me cash. And I said, it's a great process. I recommend everybody do it because it makes you realize that as an actor, there isn't anything you won't do for cash. And that's the truth. And I thought, now don't fight it. Don't be ashamed. Own the fact. Look at all the things you have done. I kissed a tractor once with a blonde wig on for money. There you have it. So I thought, well, this isn't a place. I'm coming in and I'm asking for help. And if I'm going to get real help, then I need to tell the truth. I need to tell the truth to myself, and then I need to tell the truth to this wonderful counselor who was putting her hand out and saying, I'd like to help you. And so I did. And Joanne took one look at the, 14 pages of things, and she said, you need to go to the Small Business Development Center at the College of the Canyons. And I thought, all right. And I went to Valley Days. And I'll say, before I even met these two wondrous women, I really, really got a lot out of going to the Valley Days just for being in a place where I felt someone understands what it's like to be a creative person who can't work all the time unless someone else says I can work, and what that feels like. It's not a good feeling, except for the few times that it is a great feeling. And so, and all of a sudden I'm in one of those times where I'm not on tour, I'm not on stage. Oh my God, I'm not 20. And I don't have, did that surprise you? I need to make some cash. So, but more than that now, because I'm not 20. It's more than that now. It's not getting by anymore until the next show comes. It's what is your life? What is your life? What do you want your life to be? I'm so used to having someone else tell me the trajectory. And the truth is that I'm letting myself be led by these jobs that come up. And oops, I'm in Boston, and then I'm in Milwaukee, and then I'm in Canada, and then I'm collecting unemployment, and I'm wondering what I'm going to do. And it's painful. It's painful. And also I know that of myself that I am not in a creative space when I'm not feeling joyful and safe and rested even, because I'm not worrying every minute about what's going to happen next. And then there's that wonderful extra goal of what would I like to leave on this earth when I'm gone? I mean, really, I have to ask myself that, because there have been some tragedies in my life in the last 3 years alone that have knocked me flat and made me question everything. And what I've sold all these years is joy. That has been at the basis of every single thing I've ever done. And here I was feeling none of it. And I thought, I need help. You go to Valley Days, you come to these things at the Actors Fund, and I'm sure the SAG Foundation is the same way, and you see other people, and you start to talk, and you feel like, you know what? There's support, there's understanding, and there's someone who's willing to say, I think you can do it. That thing that you want to do, I think you can do it. And I thought, well, okay, I'm in. So Joanne sent me there. I talked to Catherine. I pulled out my great big paisley polka-dotted bag, and I started pulling out things that I've made, because one of the other things I realized as a storyteller, that I am creating things all the time. I'm creating characters, but I'm also, if I'm not on stage, I have to create. I write, but because of my grandmother's tutelage, I also make things with my hands, and I've been doing that all of my life. And people have enjoyed that. And I've been baking and playing with fondant openly all of my life. And people have enjoyed that. And then I thought, well, okay, you know, here are the 1970 things that I like to do. And Catherine, God bless her, just looked at me and said, I see it. I see it. I can see it. I see it too, Carolyn. And I was like, you do? Well, here's another one. And then, here, I'll pull it out right now. But, you know, here, I just have to show you one so you can see. I'm just saying, marshmallow boobies. How can you not be happy when you look at, okay, anyway, so, and I told her, and I wrote a children's television show, and it has fairies in it who eat pancakes, and it has all kinds of fun things. It's live action, but it's also animation. And then I do this, and she's like, yep, I see it. I see it. Okay, you're going to go meet Tora. And she shoved me into Tora's office. Tora, who's applying for sainthood, who also, Tora, the thing about Tora is that, and I really do, I tell her this all the time. I'm making a new line of jewelry now that says, WWTD, what would Tora do? Because when I go to her and I say, I want to make polka-dotted fairies that eat, you know, not only pancakes, but also baklava. And she's like, that sounds great. Now, how are we going to get there? Here, now let's write down, let's be concrete. Here's your homework. And I go, okay. And off we go. So she told me, you know, you need a website. And I was like, yeah, but I can't have a website because I don't have enough money. Okay. And we'd like you to make money baking because you're already doing that. And people are loving your cupcakes and your little fondant monkeys. And so you need to do that. Yeah, but you need money to rent a commercial kitchen, and you need money to belong to an association and get insurance in case someone chokes on your cupcake and dies. And you see, my whole, I mean, I started noticing that when I hear steps that have to be taken that involve a price tag, I hear no. I hear no, Carolyn, you can't. It's not going to happen. They don't think that way. So you take my ideas and you take their expertise and you put them together, and suddenly I'm learning how to make my own website. And it was a very arduous process. I'm not going to lie to you. I started with WordPress. I don't know if I can say that. It was difficult. It was very difficult for my right-sided brain. And but I did it. I did it. I have a website. I would love for you to look at it. It makes me so happy. It's called HeyDollfaceProductions.com. heydollfaceproductions.com. And I first started making it, and can I just tell you how empowering it is to have to articulate what's important to you, who you are. When she talks about marketing and having a brand and putting together visually what a brand is and then putting the words to what your brand is, to do it for yourself, to have to write down, this is who I am and this is what I'm selling. I'm selling, what do I always sell? I'm selling motivational entertainment with snacks. Because I'm Italian and I think that people should eat. So I thought, no, I really, and then I realized, no, I really mean that. Like, that makes me laugh, but I really mean that. And how could I use that? How is that a business? And my dolls have been presented to Disney, Nickelodeon, right, a bunch of places where the vice presidents look at me and say, you're going to be a millionaire. You're going to make millions of dollars. And I say, that's great. Do you know how I do that? And they go, no. Tora Brown knows. Tora Brown knows how to do it. So I go to Tora Brown and I say, Tora Brown, here are the dolls. And you'll see when you look at my website that this vision of you as a creative person, I'm sure most of you, there isn't just one thing that you do, right? And I've heard people say to me, I went to a businessman 5 years ago and I presented my stuff to him. He was willing to meet me at a Starbucks, and we sat there, and I pull out my bag, and I start showing him things, and he said in the first hour, because he stayed with me for 3 hours, the first hour he thought, poor sad woman, got one too many gifts and doesn't know what to do with them. And this is just it's a very colorful polka-dotted mess, but it's a mess, and I'm so sorry. And then, for some reason, he stayed with me, and I kept talking. And at the end, he said, I think you're extraordinary. I suspect that you're extraordinary and that you have extraordinary things to do. And I said, do you know how to do that? And he said, well, yes, I do. And then I got a tour, and I left town. And I dropped. Everything stops, you know. I have dolls all over my apartment, ask my friends, all over my apartment with no arms and legs, and they're like, Mommy? Because they were waiting for me to come back from tour. And I'm going, and I love being on stage. I love being on stage. But when I'm gone, the business, what I hope to be a business, stops. It all stops. And I thought, these people have taught me I am the spoke of this amazing wheel. The hub of the wheel, and all of the spokes come from me. I am the source of all of it. All of these things that I have always loved to do, all of these things that I've written, these characters that I've created, it is all one vision. It can be one business. Maybe it's a business with different divisions, but there it is. It exists now. You can go look at it. You can call me and talk to me and hire me and play with me. And I have now begun. I have begun. And I'm struggling. I'm not going to lie about that either. I tell Tora that. I come in and say, all right, rent is coming. And it's tough because I have stopped. I didn't take the tour. I have stopped. And this has my full attention. I am the most qualified person for this job. There isn't another actress who's a little bit more right than I am. I'm right. I'm right. I know. And the devotion, when you tell yourself, well, when I get that job that someone else gives me and you're so committed and you work so hard toward it, I'm doing that for my business now. I do that every day for me. And when things get tough, I remind myself I'm in this boat because I want to be, because I am saying yes to my dreams on a daily basis now. And thanks to these people, I'm learning how to do it.
Thank you. Pretty inspiring. I don't even have a question because you answered everything. I started having a question. I said, she just answered it. She just answered. Thank you so much. I just love what you're doing. It's fabulous. Now we're going to move on to a gentleman, Gary Corbin, who he's to a whole new area of his life as
yes.
well. So you want to
Yes.
share a little bit about that?
Well, this is a new beginning. I've been here in the LA area for about a couple of years now, after about a decade or so in New York, where I concentrated mostly on theater. And what happened was, at 55, I decided I got an acting scholarship with Weiss Barron and to do commercial and TV acting or whatever. And this was after I had already formed the organization Globe Scope Arts and Entertainment, Inc. So what I'm doing is I'm transferring a lot of what, this is a continuation of what happened in New York. Now, when I first came here, it's been about at least a decade since I've done this type of thing, and the skills are a little rusty. And I wasn't quite sure exactly, what to do or how to say it or what. But then in looking out there and the number of people that raise their hands saying that they're starting their own business or whatever,
Gary,
I'm
I'm
like,
gonna ask you to
this
move
is
your
family.
mic a little.
This is family. So the best, I'm here to share my experiences, and just in case, maybe something I say may resonate and you could use it and with what you're trying to do. I started Globe Scope. Well, let me tell you what Globe Scope Arts and Entertainment Inc. is first and foremost. It's a multi-arts organization. We produce theater, dance, and music, programs, productions, and special events, with special emphasis on providing opportunities for artists and entertainers who are disabled, senior citizens, and underrepresented cultures. I'm part of this disabled group. In 1975, after I decided that I was going to be an actor, I lost most of my right leg to bone cancer. And for the past 30 plus years, 3 decades or so, I've been walking around with different artificial prosthetic legs. From the very beginning, I was told to forget about acting, period. And since you all are in the industry, you know that it's tough for everybody, but the arts and entertainment industry is especially hostile to people with disabilities. So in essence, I've been spending the past 3 decades or so trying to convince the arts and entertainment world that we're human beings too. We're not just somebody who's blind, walking around in a wheelchair or whatever. We have a heart, we have a mind, we have a body, and we have a soul and a mind. And I don't want to ski. I don't want to do the Special Olympics. Olympics. See, I can't even say it right. There are other ways that a person can show their full self-worth than skiing and what have you. So I didn't bring particular statistics or whatever, but if you ever want to look up the statistics, pull up the latest census count, and I'm not going to say the number because I may get it wrong, and you will be surprised at the number of people with disabilities in this country. You'll be surprised at the number of people who are senior citizens. So that's what Globe Scope Arts and Entertainment Inc. is for. And I'm working with Tora. Now, before in New York, I started working with all types of business development organizations that exist to help me to succeed. There was the New Producers Alliance of the Broadway League, where I had some supporters, and we actually had a chance to go to seminars or forums or workshops just like this, and we met the producers of the top Broadway shows. On the panel were at one event there were the producers of In the Heights, there were the producers of Memphis, and just about any type of big show. The revival of A Little Night Music, and the guy that produced that's been around a long time. What I particularly loved about that was that it didn't have a feel of we are we and you are you, and this is what you have to do to become us. It dawned on me that they are dealing with the exact same things that we're dealing with. Where are we going to raise the money for this fantastic idea? How do we find our target market? Who is our target market? the new way of advertising your business, Facebook, LinkedIn. So how do we connect in with the Broadway audiences of today to get what we need? So those types of things. And then that was where I was introduced, because my background is primarily in the not-for-profit sector, to the idea that you don't necessarily have to be a not-for-profit organization. There's something that's known as the Commercial Theater Institute. So a lot of Broadway producers and producers who are non-Broadway, there are a lot of people out there who are commercial entities. And that's what I'm exploring right now. My background, by the way, in not-for-profit, years ago, when I was in Baltimore, I became the first director of performing arts programs at the Maryland State Arts Council. So that introduced me to theater as a business, because up until that time, all the feedback I was getting is how I could become a great artist. You know, method acting, the Stanislavski method or whatever, and I had no idea what it means to operate a business. So I oversaw all of the grants for, I didn't do the majors, but the mid-size and the small organizations for the state of Maryland, the theater and dance, the performing arts programs, and I also oversaw the individual artists that were applying. So, and I'm not doing the mic correctly. I don't know. I'm sort of animated or whatever. Thanks for letting me know. And
you're getting excited. So.
I'm getting excited. Okay. So yeah, I'm naturally animated. So anyway. So with Globescope Arts and Entertainment, the stage that I'm at the moment is that I'm trying to give myself a 5-year pilot window to see whether or not I could exist as a commercial. I don't like saying for-profit. I mean, after being in not-for-profit for so long, it's kind of hard to say for-profit. So I prefer to say commercial. Whether or not Globescope is going to be commercial, or do I have to do the usual not-for-profit route? And after years of practically living in the Foundation Center, and I know not-for-profit backwards and forwards, I'm going to see if there's another way of going about it. So to help me, since Globescope has a social enterprise element, I'm able to work under the aegis of a 501c3 fiscal sponsor, Fractured Atlas, which represents organizations and individuals nationwide. So I'm fiscally sponsored under them when I was in New York, and I'm fiscally sponsored here. That gives me the time. I don't have to worry about the fiduciary responsibilities, board politics, and those types of things. It gives me the time to create a product. Then the product of Globescope Arts and Entertainment Inc. So in addition to creating the product, I get a chance to find out exactly what it means to become a businessman. I produced my one-man show, For One-Legged Men, in New York. That's where it started as an individual. And for that, I got, and look it up online, Google Gary Corbin in For One-Legged Men. I'm going to bring it to LA, but I want to do this first. So that experience, it demystified, it took away the mystery or the grandiose view I had of what it means to produce. Essentially, it said to me that you need the money first, you rent the space, you hire your director, you hire your graphic artist, you hire your whoever, whatever. And of course, there's an accountant and a fiscal part, but that's what a fiscal sponsor is for. They're here to make sure that you comply as far as IRS regulations, et cetera, are concerned. So, so now that I'm here, I'm working with Tora. My job counselor, Joanne, at the Actors Fund, referred me to Santa Clarita. And this is why I'm going to tell you, run to them. I think that they are better. Well, I'm not going to say better. It's all about putting the pieces of the puzzle together, and I feel like I have a better fit. I've been to SCORE, you know, all the different types of organizations, but this one specializes in entertainment, number one. But more than that, when you decide that you're going to do something and people are going to advise you, be it a SCORE counselor, be it someone who's already producing, another individual artist, your mother, your father, your lover, people have a tendency to either go too far to the overly pessimistic, overly optimistic, unrealistic side, or either too far to the overly pessimistic, negative side, when really it's in the middle. So what I've been doing ever since For One-Legged Men over the past 5 years is trying to find my center, where I can hold on to my Peter Pan, wave a magic wand, sprinkle stardust, idealism, and merge it with the reality of what it takes to actually run a business. And mind you, I've been to all, black organizations, handicap organizations, big, small, nationally named, little community theaters, and a lot of them fall, and I don't have enough time to go into all of their mistakes, but I don't want to make the same mistake. I want to do it right. I want to get all the information about how to write the business plan, how to market, how to find my target market, whether it's going to work or not. So anyway, but the main thing I like about Tora and Catherine and the Santa Clarita Small Business Development Company is because they didn't tell me who I wasn't. They're telling me who I am. Who I am. They're not saying, and of course you need to hear what's unrealistic or what's going to be hard to obtain. But I'm more about how can we make this happen? Because we're living in some, really crucial times. Okay, so anyway, I don't want to take all the time. I'll just sum it up by saying I am inviting you all. My first project here in LA will be my open house, where I will present, piggyback on what I did in New York, present an evening of theater, music, and film, featuring some of the best talent in Los Angeles, disabled, senior citizen or not, everybody's welcome. More open and inclusive society. I know the typical not-for-profit language, but you got somebody who actually live in it. You're not going to just get during Black History Month, James Martin Luther King, another way of saying I have a dream, which I love, or another August Wilson. You're going to get a one-legged man on stage doing a Vietnam vet dancing Ike and Tina Turner's Proud Mary. Okay? You're going to get a deaf Asian actress doing Shakespeare with some assistant sign language interpreters signing exactly what they're speaking. And you're going to get a widely diverse audience. So I need your names, address, whatever, all your information, so that we can help each other. I'm more than happy to elaborate more in the future, but print it legibly. Okay, make sure that the 0s are 0s and 9s are 9s. And let's talk, let's collaborate, let's get this on the road. We can't have the next generation of people with disabilities thinking that they are worthless. I will no longer accept people telling me that I have to accept less than 100% of my full self-worth. But I'm no longer going to do it as an angry, handicapped black man with some very serious mental health issues. I'm going to do it as a businessman with the help of the right people. We're going to change it that way.
I don't know if you guys picked up on a little bit of passion on the panel, a little bit here and there. It's fairly obvious that when you find the kind of work you want to do, it's very helpful if it's something you love doing, and also, but that reality of really matching together, aligning it. I say this to people all the time. We as career counselors always say, you may love doing this, but then you have to align it with what's really happening, you know, and that's the piece where people get stuck. You know, it's like, what do you mean what's really happening? I want to do it, I want to do it. But I want to thank you so much, Gary, because I just think you've come such a long way since last time we spoke.
Well, thank you for the opportunity, and thanks for helping me break the ice, because I haven't done this in a while. But thank you.
You would have never known. Right? I mean, am I right? Okay. The next person, Sam Eunice, who my heart is so pitter-patters with what he's managed to accomplish, because he's one of those people I've seen go through various processes. He did not go through the College of the Canyons, but more we're going to look at what happens if you buy into a franchise business. Do you all know what franchise means? That means it's a business that is already, you have the curriculum or you have the plan is already made, but you have to figure out where to do it and, you know, how to do it and all of that. So he's going to give you a little feel of that, and without any further ado, let me introduce Sam.
Hi, everybody. That's going to be a pretty tough act to follow, each and every one of you. And I should have spoken with Tora about my business plan, and you know, I might have to talk to you afterwards. So there's a lot of things I didn't do that I should have done. But so before I get into Mathnasium and how I got involved with them, just to give you a little bit of background how I ended up where I am. Been an actor and writer, but you know, I guess 80% actor, 20% writer, let's say, if you had to break it down statistically.
Sam, keep it closer to you.
Oh, sorry, yeah. So I've been mostly an actor my whole life. And got an MFA in theater in New York City, and began going out on auditions and working, and you know, with varying levels of success, doing theater there and enjoying that. And I kind of reached a point with my career and my personal life where I got married, was one thing, and got out of grad school, and I started to see the kinds of roles that were available to me. And while I was doing Shakespeare and stuff in undergrad, which I loved, I wasn't the minority of choice or the ethnicity of choice for all the roles that I kind of wanted to get. They weren't really looking for the Middle Eastern American guys at the time, except that I was there right when 9/11 happened, so they were casting us for other kinds of roles, not necessarily the kinds of roles that I wanted. So I had a couple years of pity party about that. But I decided that I should write about it. I should have a sense of humor about it. So I wrote a play about, you know, being a Middle Eastern American, actors auditioning for terrorist roles in a made-for-TV movie. So those are the kinds of things I did. It was called Browntown. This is the truth. This is the truth. I mean, it's supposed to be funny. Sorry if that made anyone uncomfortable. So, you know, I started off doing that, and I kind of found this weird empowerment with writing as opposed to sort of begging for roles. I wanted to lampoon what was happening to me. And that was my first taste of, you know, taking ownership, that weird feeling of, oh, wait a minute, I didn't ask for somebody's permission to write that. I wrote that, and I had something to say, and I kind of said it in my own way, but, you know, and it wasn't, this was a process of fits and starts for me. It wasn't like at that point all of a sudden, all the doors opened up to me. No, I continued auditioning and continued running into a lot of the same walls, personally, financially. And I decided back in 2006 with my wife that we wanted to move to Los Angeles, and I was going to try getting into more TV and film. And so we came out here in 2006 and started to land a few roles here and there. And, but by and large was kind of finding myself in a cycle of the same kinds of you know, disappointments and ups and downs with the business, doing a lot of jobs that I found really unfulfilling, just so that I could have that moment where I book an audition and that feel validated by that. And I didn't really know any other way to be at that point, even though people had told me all the time, oh, you're so smart and talented, why are you an actor? And which I always found very insulting and still do. But really, those are the kinds of things I heard. And I always had I'm from a Lebanese family. I have the voice of my father in my back of my head at all times. You need to own your own business, Samir. My name is Samir. I go by Sam, but my name is Samir. Samir, you need to own your own business. Be your own boss. And I always said, no, I don't. I mean, I want to be an actor. I want to make people laugh. I want to, but I knew there was something true to what he was saying, but I didn't know how to be the person I wanted to be, and marry that with, you know, being an actor. And so I had this sort of personal crisis about it. And around that time, in 2008, let's say, my son was born, my first son. And then things really went into overdrive. We got to get this thing figured out. Or that was actually my wife saying that to me. But I mean, it was true. We really had I was trying to, point to all the good things. I booked that one commercial. We got some insurance off of that, right? Good, but it's like, yeah, that's all you've done in the last year. So, there was a lot of those kinds of conversations. And I started to come to the Actors Fund, and I met with Joanne personally. And she really made such a huge impact on me, getting me to reflect upon what it was that I liked to do out of the whole array of sort of side jobs that I had done. What is it that I liked doing other than acting? What else was out there? Getting me to kind of, I wasn't comfortable in my own skin thinking that way, but I started to do that. And I remembered that, I'd done some tutoring in math specifically, and I liked the feeling of seeing a kid light up when they understood something. I didn't do a ton of it. I did enough of it to know that it was the one thing that I really didn't sort of detest doing, other than acting. And, but I still wasn't sure what to do with that information. And then around that time, I heard about the United States Census was hiring, and the Actors Fund played a great facilitating role in getting people to start with the census. So I signed up, I took the test, I got hired, and kind of like, despite my own protestations, I ended up being promoted and became a manager. And so a year and a half later, why am I still working for the census? I have no idea, but I was, and I felt very invested in it, even though there were things that I always complained about in working with that job. But I did enjoy the numbers. I enjoyed getting involved with communities, counting people. I was in charge of the downtown Los Angeles census count in the field operations there, 2010 census, and then it all came to a halt, of course, when the census ended. And all the actors went, oh, well, back to the drawing board. And that included me. And, my son's a couple years old now, and I still hadn't really come up with a real sustainable plan. I went back and I spoke with Joanne again. I emailed with her. I had also, in the meantime, taken a class somewhere in there called Fences. It was about, are you on the fence about your life in the industry? Sort of a tough grappling with tough questions like that. And then there were some really accomplished people in that, sitting with me asking that question. And through that process, it helped me to further refine what I wanted to do next. So I started Googling, Googling opportunities. And I was thinking, math, I like math. And I started thinking about franchises because I knew that the voice about the small business, owning your own business was still in my head. And I thought to myself, well, what is slightly less terrifying than starting a business without any real, guarantee that it's going to go anywhere? Well, franchises offer you that little extra thing that tells you, people have heard of us. But I didn't really want to go open a Subway sandwich, product. I don't know if I should have done. I didn't really want to go open a small restaurant chain. I wanted to do something that still felt in line with things that I cared about and enjoyed doing. And I started, and also didn't have a ton of money to do this. I had some of my own money combined with some help from my family, who was generous. I wish I'd known about all these other resources at the time, but. So I had to look at things that were affordable, and I learned about this company, Mathnasium, and they're headquartered in Los Angeles, and that kind of blew me away. That they had actually started in Los Angeles. Now there's 350 locations nationally, 16 internationally, but the very first Mathnasium was opened in Westwood back in 2002, and so I started to speak with a representative there, and then over the course of a few months, I guess, terrified as I was, I decided I was going to sign this contract to become a franchisee with them. And it took about, 10 months of me trying to locate the right place to open the center, learn a real quick study in business plans and plans gone awry, and trying to deal with the bureaucracy of the city to be able to open your own business. So I learned all this stuff really quickly with a lot of failure along the way. But finally, fast forward to January of 2012, I was able to open Mathnasium of Hancock Park, and it services the little community, including where we're sitting right now. And it's really been a huge blessing for me because I'm able to see kids progress in math. I'm not necessarily the person always doing the direct tutoring and instruction, but I've hired people who do a lot of that for me. The franchise itself is a very supportive community. They all gave me a lot of guidance, and with regards to business plan, you know, I had to learn about the demographics of the area, and you know, who can afford my product, what exactly, how I wanted to do it, and they gave me enough leeway as to how to execute any kind of plan that I had. And it's very, even though it is a franchise, they allow you to sort of be a local community hub. So I feel as though we're servicing a group of some neighborhoods, and we retain the flavor of the local neighborhoods. And so over time, we've been open for just over a year now, and you know, we've got a good 80, 85 kids enrolled right now. They come after school from about 2 till about 7:30. They work on their math. The stated mission of the company is to teach math in a way that makes sense to kids. So it's an environment that they find really you know, wonderful. I've met other actors and hired other actors to work. I always let them out for their auditions. And so yeah, it's been, and what I've really loved about it is the sense that I have autonomy and I don't have to accept somebody telling me what I can and can't do professionally. I don't have to, and I also what I miss about acting is the feeling of risk, and that anything can happen. You're taking a risk, but I still get that from being a business owner, and in fact, I get that in spades. So, you know, really, I haven't lost that sense of, you know, I could be, this could be a great month, or I could be bankrupt this month, and I think there's something about a lot of artists that we have a strange addiction to that. And I didn't want to have a career path that was like, okay, now I got to go do the safe thing. You know, I got to go to law school. No offense to anybody who goes to law school, because you know, but I kept on resisting because I thought that choosing another a sideline or a parallel career meant that you weren't going to be able to engage with that part of yourself that likes to feel risk, that likes to, you know, explore the unknown and meet people and market and all of those things. And that's what I get to do, though. I mean, I sell the program to interested parents. I see kids improve their math skills. They refer other people. And I also, now we have a second son, just born 3 months ago. And so that's been my other franchise, I guess. No. Yeah, so that's been wonderful that I'm actually able to run the business, and I've hired the kinds of people that I can trust to help pick up the slack if I can't be at the center. Like right at this minute, they're doing things for me because I can't be there. And I've learned about, from being sort of not a boss for so long, I've learned about the kind of boss that I want to be for my employees, and I'm still learning, and there's a ton to be learned, and I'm still. There's a lot that's unresolved about my career and how it's all going to come back together again. The master plan is that now that it's been about 1 year, I'm going to start sort of trying to reopen some doors in my acting career, and that's sort of what I'm in the process of doing right now. But the pressure to do that doesn't feel nearly as strong because I'm getting fulfillment and meaning out of what I'm doing, and I really would have never thought that I could do that if it wasn't for talking to people like Joanne and people in the Actors Fund, other like-minded artists, and seeing their own sort of similar things that they were grappling with to what I was grappling with, and then just sort of clumsily ending up at this great place. And I'm really happy to be here, and thank you, Joanne.
So the passion continues, right? And what I'd like to do is we're going to go to the questions that you guys have asked. But I also want to mention just a couple of things. One of this, if you hear there's a little bit of a theme, it's creating community around yourself. in doing this, so it's not trying to do it in an isolated fashion. I'm often the one to say that Los Angeles, if you don't have work, is probably one of the most isolating places to be, because you transport yourself alone. You live, if you live by yourself, it can be very isolating. So we're hearing the word community a lot. I also want to mention, because there was reference to Valley Days a couple of times. Valley Days is something that we do with the Actors Fund, where we go every other month to Local 80 in Burbank. And it's great. We have a whole sound studio. We just did one a couple weeks ago, and about a month, well, it's about 3 weeks ago, and we about job trends and what was happening right now. But the next one we're going to be doing on the 28th of February is going to be, of March rather, is going to be on Toastmasters, and how you can really utilize it to really help you in presentations. I just want to mention it because it was there. So I'm going to ask some questions. There's some good questions here. One is, and this is probably for both of you ladies, can any SBDC help with entertainment-related business development / consulting?
Oh, I guess I would be a little bit biased if I said yes, they could. So yes, there are SBDCs throughout the LA metropolitan area. They do have a host of consultants on their staff, but I'd probably like it if you came to College of the Canyons rather than going to another place. But if it is more convenient for you, yes, there are. And there's an easy way to find out the closest SBDC. If you go to the ASBDC website, you can type in your zip code, and that will give you the closest one. But of course, we would love to see all of you, your friends, your family members, whoever is interested in using our services. So.
Also, I think when an organization starts getting used to doing that kind of work with entertainment people, they start becoming, and that was their focus. That certainly does help, right? Go ahead.
And I just wanted to say, we also are really innovative at the College of the Canyon Small Business Development Center. I do a lot of phone conferences. I have currently an entertainment client who is a student at CalArts who has an internship in New York. So we do Skype meetings. So there's other options. So even if you think, oh my God, Santa Clarita's so far, we could still meet with you, like I said, via phone, via Skype. We make things happen. So.
Great. But it's a really pretty drive, and you can look at the mountains while you're singing on the way up.
Just in case. This is a good one, probably for all of you in a way. When is a great idea? When is it a great idea to go corporate? When is a good idea that you should take a hobby and move it into something that's really becomes a business? Anybody want to address that? Because all of you talked a little bit about
I'll take a stab at that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, tutoring, I think you have to look around and see what the need is, right? I mean, when you have to do, it's kind of like putting your business plan together. You have to see, is this something that has legs? And when it comes to supplemental education, I did some research and found out that it's a burgeoning field, right? Because our schools aren't all performing the way we want them to. And because of that, there is a business. There's a way to help people out through tutoring. So I mean, that's a good example of when it might be a good idea to go corporate. Yeah, you look around and you see that there's the potential for growth with that kind of a concept. And that was just one example.
And I think you were addressing it a little bit, Carolyn, before, because you have things. I'm telling you to put the mic by your mouth, and I've got it over here on my leg. That was a big thing for you because the things you were doing were almost like hobbies to you, but now they're becoming more of a business.
Right. There was always, I always had people give me money for certain things, like I knit. And I'm making little, when Sam said he had a new baby, I was like, oh, I have a perfect hat for your little baby. I'm obsessed with cupcakes, you can tell. I like to bake them, but I also like to knit them. And I have paperweights, I have things in there. Anyway, what's happened, I think, that's really been encouraging, in the last 6 weeks alone, there are 6 different divisions to my company. that eventually they will all be rolling at the same time, and I will be able to employ people, and I will be the empress. But right now, I'm the whole shebang for all 6, and in the last 6 weeks, I have made money in 5 out of the 6. So that tells me, I know, and Tor doesn't even know about one that happened last week, shut up. So I am getting that, yes, I mean, there does come a moment when you have to stop having ideas and go out the door and see if it's going to make you money. And then you have to, you know, I've heard people say, well, you love to do this, but are you going to love it when you have to do it? And, you know, if you pick the right thing that's right for you, my answer is yes, every day and every day. And what's so great for me about not doing one thing all the time is it appeals to me as a Gemini and all the people who live in my head. And when I get, one day, I'm making 36 cupcakes for a baby shower with little baby faces and little daisies looking at you. And then the next day, I go to an open house, and I'm helping realtors sell houses now. Because I made it up in my head, and it sounded really good, and I went and presented it to a realty company, and we had a huge successful open house last week. And I'm just starting in that business. And so I think you have to try. I think there just does have to come that moment, and you get some support, and you have to try and see if, like you said, if it has legs, if there's going to be something there that feels good to you that can make you money. Yes.
Yeah, and it also tells you being aligned, like right now, selling houses is starting to percolate, you know, and knowing what's happening during the time, you know, that would be a good business venture. I've got another question. Do you provide guidance on legal or tax implications of having a small business? I'm very afraid of blowing my opportunity and all my money, I'm sure, by making a mistake in these areas.
Yes, we do provide that area of expertise. One of our consultants actually has his law degree. We have a few consultants that have financial backgrounds. So absolutely that is available, and it's really just you taking a chance, sharing the information, and deciding if you want to proceed with this. But the resources are there.
What about things like taxes, like the IRS and all that?
I would say, yes, the taxes and the tax implications are covered under the financial area, but no, we are not providing tax advice.
Okay. That's the kind of thing usually we always would suggest to talk to your accountant or find someone that you can work with in that area, okay? Do you know of any place one can go to have people guide you through the setup of a small business, no matter the type of business?
I would say College of the Canyons, Small Business Development Center.
Yeah, I know. I hadn't read that. I think we all got that right. Okay. What would be the steps you'd advise to take if we did not know the kind of business we want to start? A list of jobs we've done, a suggestion of what was mentioned. You know, you can all address this.
So I'll start with that one. Like when Carolyn came in, she had the really cute dolls, and she had done some stuff, and she baked, and you know, we just kind of sat, and when we first meet with clients, what we'll do, Catherine will meet with you first, and you kind of say, well, this is what I'm thinking about, this is what I'm interested in, I'm not sure. You can come in if you're at that stage. Mm-hmm. And then we go through a process, and we talk to you, and we say, okay, well, what is it that you're doing? What have you been doing? Have you ever sold these things? Is there a market for this? And we really go through it all with you. We start from we can take you from very basic to just an idea. I mean, when Carolyn came in, a lot of the things that she's doing now, we came up with. I mean, she was already kind of doing a lot of the things that she's doing, but she hadn't really thought of them as far as like making them a business. And I said, well, you know, you're making cupcakes, you're doing these things, like these are all, this is a business. You just haven't made it formal. Mm-hmm. So then we work together to formalize it with getting the DBA, then opening the bank account, all of the things that you need to do to really make it formal, and then start working on the business plan, which is really fun, and then working on, you know, figuring out who your audience is and who you're going to sell these things too, like whether it's a service or a product, and even like with, and you might want to speak to it, but she mentioned how she's doing the thing with real estate. Well, that's acting. I mean, that's her doing her one-woman show on the weekend at an open house. So if you're saying, like, as an actor, you have to think of what kind of opportunities and what kind of things can I do outside of waiting for someone to call me to give me a commercial or to call me, you know, for a TV show. There's other opportunities that you can create and turn yourself, I mean, really what you're doing, your skill, into a business. It's even the skill as an actor, that's a product. That's
yeah, I'd like to answer that briefly, and I'll say this first, though. I don't like giving advice, but I do like sharing my experiences. Oh, I do like sharing my experiences, and of the many workshops or seminars or whatever that I have taken, people who weren't sure have straddled in, even if it was how to start your own business workshop, because what happens is it takes you out of isolation. And my time, the one reason that it took me a while to even get started was because I had a lot of conversations with myself. And I was listening to so many other people. But when you at least put yourself in the arena, you're there with other people who are thinking the exact same thing. And you get to hear their stories and their experiences. So, and that may motivate you. You may end up finding your passion through someone else's passion. They may speak so passionately about what they do. It may make you examine exactly who you are and what really makes you tick as a human being. And you may discover it that way. And a lot of it's an ever-evolving process, putting the pieces of the puzzle together and discovering things along the way, including discovering things within the area that you think that you're an expert on, that you know that you're an expert on. So.
Great. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that part of that process for me, like I said, when I was forced to create my own website. Again, even if this isn't something that you need to do or that if you're able to pay someone else to do it, what I do recommend about that is that you are having to articulate who you are. And in that process, things start to emerge. Some things go to the wayside that you thought maybe were going to be primary in what you were about to do. And other things come up and say, oh my gosh, of course that. Why didn't you think of that first? And it's the creative process. It's being out of Second City. You don't say no, you say yes and sitting down on your own life, your own dreams, you all say, well, if I had enough money, if I had enough time, if I had the theater space, and I could do my own one-woman show, what would I do? Well, you say, oh, la, 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 and it gets all, fuzzy. But really, concretely, having to write down, am I worth 45 of your dollars that you've worked hard for? If you're going to sit and listen to me for an hour and a half, have I earned your trust? Am I worth the time and the energy that you're going to give me to see if I have something to offer you? If I make you laugh with your belly when you're having a hard time in your life, is that worth money? And then you say, well, yeah, then, if you get yeses in there, and you start to say, well, you know what, I do know what I would want to say. I am worth your time for an hour and a half, and I'm worth your $45, and this is what I'm about. This is what I want to say. And things come up, rise to the top. And again, Catherine told me the very first day, you're going to make mistakes. And I have perfectionistic tendencies, and I didn't enjoy hearing that. And she said it again. And I'm like, okay, I've got it. And she said, and they don't have to stop you. They don't have to stop you. You will learn from them, and then you'll do something different. But here we already printed out 30 mistakes that you're probably going to make. Don't do those. And I'm like, okay, well, there's 30 I won't jump into.
Thank you.
Oh, and I just want to say, too, because I know I'm sounding all like, oh, I'm excited, and I am, but also there are when you have creative dreams, there are concrete things that you can do to make them happen. I just want to make sure that I say that today because I didn't really know that 6 months ago. And I have these dreams of, you know, these dolls. I'll show you if you want to see some of them over there. But I had these dreams about them. I'll pull out some. Okay. Okay. Would you help me with this? But one of the things that happened, well, here's a line of mermaids who are divas. And I want them to see this one. This is a la-di-da fairy. She has polka dotted legs and tutu. And when bad things happen, she tap dances in the kitchen and says la-di-da. And yeah, so I have, anyway, what I wanted to say is, right, you get all excited and you have people with, you know, some power who tell you that they think that you're going to make a lot of money at these things. And you think, well, really? How does that happen? And you start to ask questions and find out and then realize, I need protection. They need protection. So I got an investor and I went to a lawyer, an intellectual property specialist. All of my dolls come with messages. Some of them are kind of Weisenheimer-y, and some of them are inspirational. And I trademarked them. And we applied, and I've won 3 patents on my dolls. I know. Thank you. It's very exciting. You should have seen Catherine's face when I put the patents on the table, like, woohoo! But to have I mean, it's a very big deal. It's a big deal, and it's another one of those steps that makes you say, this is going to happen now. It can happen now, because we thought about it, we put the work into it, and we paid the money, and we asked for it, and we got it. And yeah, I mean, the blueberry fairy, she says, I am ripe for magnificence. Who doesn't want to hear that? Yeah. So yeah, that idea, I mean, just really of someone who on a daily basis, honestly, there are just so many things running around in my mind that I want to make and I want to write and I want to say. And I took a writing class a few years ago at UCLA, a screenwriting class that was wonderful. And what I got out of that was that there's this playground up in my head, my imagination. And some of the times there are wrought iron gates with a giant padlock on it. And I couldn't get in my own playground. And I took this course, and I feel like I got keys. I got keys. The keys were already here, but I found a way to get them whenever I want them. And that's what this is doing, the exact same thing.
This one is for Sam. How do you tell which franchises are good and which are not? You probably had to do a little homework before.
Oh, that's a really good question. How do you tell which franchises are good and which are not? I did do a lot of homework on that, and like I said, it started with Googling. There are these websites out there called Franchise Gator. There's Entrepreneur. There's all these different ones. You'll see it. I mean, if you just type franchise, they're all going to pop up, and they're all going to come at you like, hey, have you thought about our franchise? What about us? What about us? And you can look at the ones where they'll rank them on a number of different dimensions, and including satisfaction of the franchisees themselves. And you can also, and then I just started to, and they'll also, by the way, getting ahead of myself, they'll also rank them in terms of how much money it takes to start one of them up, which is, to me, became probably the most, nuts and bolts important question for me, was what is actually within the realm of possibility for me. And then, you start to narrow down. I like the education field. I like tutoring. I like the idea of math. And so in my experience, I narrowed it down to a few different ones. And I actually looked at some customer reviews even. What do customers say about these? And I found this one other particular franchise, which I won't name, that I was considering, got a lot of negative customer feedback. They were more established than the one that I chose in terms of they'd been around longer, and they seemed like a sure thing in terms of a franchise opening. But I saw, and I saw kids who were talking about, I hate going to blank. I hate going there. It's terrible. And then I never saw that with the other one that I was looking at. And so some of it had to do with that, and some of it had to do with just my own instinct, what do they, what kind of image do they project? Do I feel aligned with that? And then another thing is, how responsive are they going to be if you were to reach out to them? Some of them are going to set the bar super high, and they say, don't even talk to us unless you've got a net worth of blah, 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 which is going to make your head spin when they tell you what that number is. And then others have a bit more modesty, perhaps, I think, and they are interested in people. They're interested in getting to know, who is this person coming at me? They're not just looking at you as a bunch of dollar signs. Do you have the dollar signs in your eyes to make this work? They're looking at what can you bring to this franchise, and they'll take your call. They'll call you back. So think about so don't be afraid to call them. There's people whose jobs it is to talk to somebody like you. You might feel as though you're just barking up some tree and, who am I to ask these questions? But these people, that's what franchises do. They're looking for the right people. And the other thing I would say is know your territories. Once you honed in on a franchise of any kind that you think might be interesting to do, look around and see if there are any of those particular franchise branches of that franchise, I guess, in neighborhoods that you're interested in. If it's a physical location, I guess I'm talking more about retail locations now, but or if it's something that can be done out of your home. There's, I think, there are even janitorial, and there's all kinds of interesting franchises that don't necessarily require a storefront. So you might want to consider those aspects as well. Do you want to run something out of a storefront, and you willing to take on the risk involved with renting a space, dealing with commercial real estate? Or would you like to try to do, I think there's babysitting franchises even where I don't even know exactly how they work, but where they, somehow you are involved with helping to set people up with babysitters. There's everything you can think of. There's some franchise for it, and it's really pretty, there's a lot of resources for looking at them. Just be a detective and use your instincts.
And you can too, by the way, if you do find a franchise, you can also go to an SBD to be able to help you, work that out if you feel like you need a little bit more support around it. Sam did it more on his own, kind of thing, more independently. But, that's something to be aware of, that you have support around you. Thanks, Sam. Another one, this is from Caroline. Does anyone know or have used, and I don't know this, crowdfunding or the new SBA crowdfunding portal to raise money? Do you guys know about that? Okay.
We've actually, we've worked with some clients to do Indiegogo campaigns and Kickstarter campaigns, and we've been successful. And really, again, with doing the crowdfunding, if you want to embark on a campaign, you have to be really clear on who you are, what your service, your product is, why you need this money, and why I should give it to you. So you're going to have to be really, really clear on your message, and then really be able to have a message that people can grab hold of and carry and share that message with others, and a message that they're going to want to share with others, right? And so that's something that we can help you with if you were to come in and you thought you had a project, a film project. I recently helped a client with kind of a television project. I won't say exactly what, we can't do that, and getting some funding for his project. So that's definitely, the crowdfunding, I think it's definitely the way to go. There's people that are getting lots of money for projects using those two places that I mentioned. And the SBA does have some new things that they're doing as well to support. So I would say it's definitely something that if you are looking for funding for a project, it's definitely a way to go, and it's something that we could help you with at the SBDC.
And just so you know, in case you don't know, SBA is that, you know what that Small Business Administration,
Right.
And Small Business Development that's these places such as the College of the Canyons, Santa Monica College has one. I mean, Glendale has one. They're in different areas. But they're the ones that actually work with you. If you talk to somebody at SBA, they tell you to go to an SBD, because that's where you would be getting the work,
Right.
Okay? So good. I'm going to ask just a couple of questions around how you feel in terms of how much time you need to give yourself to get a business started. I mean, because obviously it's not an overnight experience, and it does take some time. What does that look like? It's probably different for each of you, but, and you guys can address it too, you ladies as well. You want to address it? Okay. The business owners address it. How much time? So much time.
I just want to sit here and laugh for a few minutes. Or cry. I think that you have to be willing to not have a number. You have to be all in. You have to be all in, and some things are going to pop really quickly, and other things are not. Things are not happening as quickly as I'd hoped financially right now. But I mean, to the level they're happening, but not to the level I had hoped. I launched Thanksgiving week. And so really in the big scheme of things, to have 5 areas working already is good. But when I look at the kind of money that I was hoping to bring in between Thanksgiving and now, I'm not quite there. But you know, then you just have to get creative about how am I going to get the money that I need, because I'm all in. I'm all in. So I think I'm just willing. I'm just telling myself it's going to take as long as it takes. As there are positive, as long as there are pieces of information coming in that are telling me that I'm on the right track, like getting to be, I just became a baker for a high-end catering company, and that's telling me that my work is at a certain level and that I do want to continue to pursue that. If that didn't happen, I would have let that go to the, you know, but I'm not saying, well, I'm giving myself 6 months, or I'm going to make sure that I did do that when Tora first told me about the business plan, and it says like, how much money do you want to make in the first year? And I was like, $1 million. And where are you going to be in 5 years? $642 million. You know, I don't know. I mean, where are these numbers supposed to come from? I'm like pulling out. I don't know. You know, and then you go, oh, there's actually a way to find those numbers. Okay, I'll get on it. You know, that's what the homework's for. And then you say, well, yeah, that's not going to happen in 3 months. That's gonna take a while. And I say, all right.
I'm in it for life, and I guess to answer the question, though, it depends on the business, and it depends on your life, whether you have kids or what your other responsibilities are. And I guess one source of encouragement that I had recently from a person who is in business and has been in for quite some time. He said, don't be afraid to fail or for it to fall and you have to pick yourself back up and do it again. Again, I was in not-for-profit arts administration, and I read a lot of stuff. So now I'm on the other side of it, and it's different. I'm actually doing the stuff that I read about and the grant proposals and what have you. So, and I have been in the startup phase, I'm not going to say how many years, but for quite some time. I have. One thing I incorporated too early because someone paid for it for me because we thought it was going to happen quicker than what it actually did. But I told myself that I equate what I'm doing to if I were going to get my master's degree. That takes about 5 years or what have you. So I equate what I have essentially been going back to grad school without exactly going to a university. Learning how to write my business plan. And the business plan, Tora is so right about that. It's a projection. It's a roadmap. And of course, it's not necessarily set in stone. It changes and evolves. So to make a long story short, if anybody knows, life is an ever-evolving process. And again, it depends on the business. It depends on your life. I was going to give up a couple of years ago. I took a long trip to Europe. I went down the canals from the folks in the UK. Do you want to do this? Because it's going to be tough. It definitely is. Do you want to do this, or do you want to get a real job and some security and, you know, a paycheck? And when I landed back in New York at JFK Airport, I had my answer. I must do this, no matter how long it takes.
That's really inspiring, and I think that they're both right on about not having a prescribed, I mean, some people might prudently advise that you should have a really good contingency plans. You know, contained in your business plan should be what will happen if I don't make the money that I hoped that I would make by month 3 or month 4 or month 5. Of course, those are all things you should consider, but to encapsulate it for one, you know, to have one catch-all idea about, you know, when you'll throw in the towel going into it, I don't know. I don't know what the analogy is. Is it like signing a prenup? I don't know what it is. But also, I mean, you know, we're all from creative backgrounds, and you have thick skins. You know, you've got the training in a way that you don't think that you do. Like there are people talking about starting. Oh gosh, all the difficulties starting the business is like it's nothing I haven't been through. Like, you know, the rejection, the people saying no, you'll never be able to do that. Except the difference is I actually can, you know, exert a little bit more autonomy, a lot more autonomy on the steps that can be taken to, you know, alter my course. Doesn't mean everything you do will end in wild success, but so I just think don't underestimate yourself and your own resilience, because if you come from a creative background, you have a way of looking at the world that is already so good at on-the-spot solution, you know, problem solving, that you're not going to like some robot melt down when you know everything did not go as planned, not as planned. You know, you're gonna like, no, you're gonna be like, oh, well, I have to make an adjustment. Just like when you were on tour and then that gig ended and then you were on unemployment for a while and then you were figuring out your next move. So it's all that, you know, I think it's the same skills, but you're applying it to something else. That's just how I look at it.
Did you want to say? You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. When you're thinking about starting a business, I've had clients that have come in very passionate, very motivated. They've been thinking about the idea. Now they have a plan of attack and they execute it. Some of them have executed it in a few weeks, few months. I have had other clients that we have worked with for a few years. And along the way, they've had some life interruptions, things that they didn't expect to happen. Maybe it's health issues. Maybe it's economic issues. Could be a death of a family member or a friend. They've had a whole host of things happen, but what did not change is that they were still committed to that business idea. And it doesn't mean that you have to take 100% of the risk. If it's something that you're thinking about, part of it is test it. You can test the concept and help minimize the amount of your time and or capital that's required, and then you can build from there. And then that will be valuable information when you think about working on a feasibility analysis or a full-blown business plan, or maybe you're not interested in the business plan. You don't even want to hear the word. You want to work on a marketing plan so that you find out what is that potential market out there. You know, you have, sometimes people have ideas and they think, oh, you know, this is the best product ever and I know everybody wants it. Okay, but what if that everybody is only 100 people? What if it's only in Southern California? You want to know before you invest a lot of time and a significant amount of capital, because everybody works hard for your money. Even if you get others to help, like Sam was saying, family members, friends, they want to know that they're making an investment in something that's reasonable. And you want to feel comfortable when they invest in you. If you could write your own check, would you write the check? If you worked the numbers and you found out it was going to cost you $10,000 to start the business, would you write the check? I do the same thing with my kids and their allowance. It's okay if I'm spending my money, but if I ask them, do you want to spend your allowance? They probably think about it for a week. So it's just asking yourself, taking a step back, You're doing a little bit of homework on the idea for your business, and then ask yourself, am I willing to write the check? If you could, or if somebody was willing to finance it 100%, would you be okay with that person writing that check? Or maybe it's testing the concept so you feel more comfortable. And even when you test the concept, you figure out some of the challenges that you can kind of work through. And then you're modifying the business model and your actions. So it's just something for you to think about.
We have a little bit more time, but go ahead. I'll go, and then go
I
to you,
just
Sam.
wanted to briefly say, the three of them touched on it, and it's so important to not worry about making mistakes and being okay with failing. And you know, being actors and being in entertainment, I'm sure most of you have, you know, like you said, you've faced rejection, so you're probably more okay with failure than maybe a lot of other people are, and that's really important. And as you're working on your business plan, like I said, it's a roadmap. It's just your roadmap. And so think about, like, when we're in the car and our GPS is on, and then we realize there's a roadblock, and so we make a turn, and what does it say? Recalculating, right? Same thing with your business plan. You can be moving forward, and you can see that, oh, I thought it was going to be like this, and it's a little different. It's okay to recalculate and go a different direction. And so just as you're thinking about it, just really be open and just go with the flow and just really enjoy the process.
Sam?
Doesn't she make you feel like you can do it?
It's totally.
She's good.
I just wanted to touch on that idea of would you write the check, because I think that's a brilliant way of putting it. And one thing that I was contemplating, and would you write the check thing, was looking at graduate schools versus, you know, entrepreneurship and having this kind of battle back and forth. I don't know that there is I'm not saying that I've chosen the right thing and then those who chose graduate school or something like that have chosen the wrong thing, but to think about that, you know, there's other alternatives out there to small business ownership, but in my assessment at the time, the things that I saw myself possibly being interested in, were they giving me any more prospects at after having invested that money than I was going to be at, hopefully within a year or two of starting my business? And was I going to be in a better position after having gained that degree? And don't want to sound too controversial or say that, you know, getting degrees is a bad thing at all. I have sort of auxiliary degrees myself, right? But that's one way. That's another way that you can use that thinking to really to distill, you know, and be honest with yourself about what expenditure of money will yield an outcome that is more likely to make you happy in terms of your lifestyle, your earning potential, everything, not just dollars and cents, but yes.
Great. So, you know, we're covering a lot of territory here, I hope, for you guys. The other thing I just want to mention, because we're kind of rounding up now, one thing is that I know one of the things that you guys do, and I know they do it at SBD, is that you guys will take a look at, they'll assess you to see if you're the right person to do your own business. And sometimes you need to partner with somebody, you know, like maybe you're the creative person and you got the ideas, but you need to have somebody that is not bad about going on QuickBook, you know, and doing the real stable, you know, that happens. And I want you to be aware of that. So it's not like that you just go in and get an idea. You have to kind of see, am I the type of person that can really manage this, you know, and you want to know that and get that information. That's something else that they help you do, okay? Now, I think we're pretty much there, if I'm not mistaken. I have a head that's going like this. And, but I want to say that, number one, first of all, I want to thank Caitlin Sorensen, who is who coordinates for us, and she really helped put a lot of this stuff together with me. And also, we had you want to introduce yourself? Just tell everybody who you are. I'm Renee. Renee's doing some volunteer work with us, and she's an actress, and she's been just fabulous. And she was a person that was helping get things organized here. And I want to thank our partners, Dennis and all of you guys from Screen Actors Guild Foundation, because you really, when we get to do these kind of things, because it's fun to be able to do what you love doing, but it's also important that you have to get that practicality of how can I keep doing it, because every moment that you have is the only moment you have, you know, and here's an opportunity for you to think about that, okay? So thank you. You've been a wonderful audience. If you want to come up and ask questions afterwards, please do. And those of you who have not, please come to orientation on Monday if you'd like to be part of the Actors Work Program. Thank you so much.